back to today's video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Iowa primary for the 2024 election. Now, as again, today's video, guys, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you like the video. We are on a path to reach 200 subscribers relatively soon, and every subscriber definitely helps out reaching that goal. Now, as we get into today's video, we're looking at the Iowa primary that is happening in about 9 days. In 9 days, the Iowa primary will take place because we're making this video as of January 6, 2024. We are almost 11 months away from the 2024 election, and we are only 9 days away from the first Iowa primary, the first primary in the country there. So taking a look here, we're going to take a look at the of my prediction here for the Iowa primary. Now, this is probably not going to be my final prediction. Most likely, I'm going to do a prediction after the fifth GOP debate. So after the fifth GOP debate, which will take place on January 10th, 2024. After that debate, I will do another prediction because I obviously want to see where the polls are at right after the debate. Obviously, things could change, obviously, but we want to look at that as well. But taking a look at this, where does DeSantis and Haley stand? Because that's really the question. Trump will take the first place for this nomination. I don't think that anybody is trying to deny that. Trump is going to win most likely anywhere from 45 to 55% of the vote. Anywhere from 45 to 55. Not 55, anywhere from 45 to, I'd say, 52, 53% of the vote. Okay? Trump's going to win there. He's going to take the most delegates. But the question is, who's going to come in second? Because that is what this race is all about. This race is a race about who will come in second for this nomination. DeSantis currently is leading Haley by around 2 to 3 points. Now, that being said, many election predictors, such as Election Predictions Official, have said that actually Nikki Haley will come in second place. Now, I partly disagree with that. I think that DeSantis is most likely going to come in second place. DeSantis is currently leading Nikki Haley by around 2 to 3 points. Now, that being said, polls 2016 election, Trump was beating Ted Cruz by around 3 to 4 points in most of the polls, although when it actually came to election day, Ted Cruz actually ended up winning the Iowa primary back in 2016. Now, why did Ted Cruz end up winning the Iowa primary and ended up overperforming expectations? Now, the reason why that occurred is obviously due to the fact of the heavy evangelical Christian vote within the state of Iowa. Iowa has a heavy evangelical Christian Republican base that is located within them. And the question is, in 2016, who is a more conservative type of individual in the state of Iowa? And that was Ted Cruz. Now the question is, who is more conservative, DeSantis or Haley? Well, when taking a look at this, just taking a look overall, I would say that DeSantis is, generally speaking, seems more conservative than Nikki Haley. Generally speaking, DeSantis does seem to be more conservative. He seems to be more a traditional Republican type of individual, I guess you could say. More traditional Republican, I guess. Even Nikki Haley, you could say she's more traditional. But you kind of get the idea. DeSantis, when you think of DeSantis and Ted Cruz, you kind of think of the same type of people. I don't know whether that's a good way to put it. But DeSantis is kind of like Ted Cruz in some ways, right? Ted Cruz ran in 2016 as a traditional conservative, right? A traditional Ronald Reagan type conservative, right? DeSantis, okay, he's DeSantis as well. He's obviously running as a conservative. He has the war experience. He was in the Iraq War. So he's kind of coming in with that traditional conservative type of ideology, right? So because of that, I do think that DeSantis is going to come in second. Now, I don't think he's going to beat Donald Trump, no way. But Haley is most likely going to come in third. Now, obviously, people can disagree with me, and that is really the question. The question is, who's going to come in second? DeSantis or Haley? That is really the question for this prediction. Who's going to come in second? Again, guys, feel free to disagree with me. Obviously, this is not my final prediction. We're obviously going to do one after the fifth GOP debate. Now, the fifth GOP debate will only take place between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. The reason why is because you have to be pulling at least 10% in order to participate in the debate. And the debate will be held by CNN on December 10th. And I believe it will be occurring at either 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., most likely Eastern time. But anyways, it will be occurring, and make sure that you guys go and check that out on December 10th. But it will be a head-to-head debate. Up to this point, we have not had a head-to-head debate. We've had a four-way debate because the last debate was a four-way debate, and the debate before that was a five-way debate, and then before that, I believe it was a 6 or 7-way debate. But this is going to be a head-to-head debate matchup. Trump is obviously not going to attend. I'd be surprised if he does attend. Although this is going to be a head-to-head debate between the two highest polling candidates other than Donald Trump, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. Vivek Ramaswamy will not attend. Vivek Ramaswamy, I believe, will be on a channel. He'll be with, I believe, Tim Cook or another channel. I'm not really sure where he's going to be, but he's going to be counter-programming it somewhere. Trump obviously going to be counter-programming it as well. I think Chris Christie will also be counter-programming it as well. And then Asa Hutchinson, I mean, I don't know why he's still in the race. He's going to lose no matter what. So, anyways, Asa Hutchinson is in the race as well. Okay, so that is kind of where we're standing. Now, the question is, okay, so we have the Iowa primary. What's my prediction? Well, my prediction is this. Trump's going to come in first. DeSantis is going to come in second. Nikki Haley is going to come in third. Very close third. Vivek Ramaswamy is going to come in fourth. Chris Christie is going to come in fifth. And then Asa Hutchinson is going to come in sixth. And I believe you have two other individuals. But anyways, that's my prediction. Okay, so Trump's going to come in first. Haley's going to come after DeSantis. Vivek Ramaswamy is going to come after Haley and DeSantis and Trump. And then Chris Christie will be beaten by Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, so that's where we stand. Now, the question is, who's going to drop out after this? So who is going to drop out? Well, people are speculating that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to drop out. I do not think that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to drop out. I think that he may not, okay? Vivek, I mean, he should probably drop out at this point. He's not going to win. He's definitely going to do really bad in New Hampshire, which is the next state, correct? Now, Chris Christie has a reason to stay in the race because Chris Christie is doing relatively good in the polling in New Hampshire. So Chris Christie could do better in New Hampshire. Chris Christie is actually beating DeSantis in some polls, which is really interesting there. DeSantis was actually coming in like fourth place, which was really interesting. But so Chris Christie has a reason to stay. Vivek Ramaswamy might drop out. I think Haley's definitely going to stay in since South Carolina comes after New Hampshire. And then DeSantis, I don't know, DeSantis, I feel like he's lost his momentum. I feel like he had a lot of momentum in the beginning of 2023, although I think his momentum has really gone down. And on top of that, Trump is also taking in some more traditional conservatives. Traditional conservatives are voting for Trump by a lot compared to before in 2016 and even in 2020 when you think about it. So the traditional conservatives are coming with Trump as well. Obviously, have issues like the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which brought traditional conservatives to Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump has actually been doing relatively good. Now, for a while, it seemed like he wasn't doing so good. He was around 44, 45%. Although more recently, in the last 1 month or so, we have seen a new development, and that is that Trump is consistently polling at around 50%. Okay? So that is very interesting there as well. Now, if one of the candidates drop out, so who's going to drop out? Well, we have several options, right? So you have DeSantis could drop out, Christie could drop out, Nikki Haley could drop out. Vivek might drop out, although I'm not sure. Vivek should probably drop out at this point. I don't understand why he's in the race still, but he should probably drop out. So if Ron DeSantis is probably going to take 12% of the Republican vote, right? If he drops out, he's going to take 12% of the Republican vote. Now, the question is, if he drops out, where's that 12% of the electorate going to go? Well, they're going to go to several candidates. They're going to go to either Nikki Haley, Vivek, or Trump. I doubt that they're going to go to Chris Christie because you have to recognize this about the DeSantis people. The DeSantis people do not love Trump, but they're okay with him. Okay? The Chris Christie people hate Trump. Sorry about that. But the Chris Christie people hate Trump. The Nikki Haley people are okay with Trump, but they want an alternative. So you have to recognize this. You kind of have these, I would say, four groups. Okay, four groups of the Republican electorate. You have the Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis group. Okay, that accounts for about 30%. This 30% likes Trump and what he did in office during his 4 years, although they prefer somebody different. They would prefer DeSantis or Haley. Then you have the Chris Christie people. They don't like Trump at all. If Trump becomes the nominee, I would say about 60 to 70% of them might not even vote for him, right? And then you have the Vivek people who really like Trump, but they want a younger candidate who is younger. So those are kind of your four groups, right? So if DeSantis drops out, I would say that most of his voters are going to go to Haley or Trump. The problem with Vivek is that he can't really get much support from the Trump people because the Trump people like Trump and the Trump people like Trump and you're not really going to get anybody from them, right? So that's a problem for Vivek. But Ron DeSantis is 12%. He could shake that around a bit. It could go to Trump. I would say majority of the voters would probably go to Trump. So I think Ron DeSantis would probably drop out of the race and endorse Trump. I doubt that Ron DeSantis would endorse Nikki Haley or Vivek. I don't think that DeSantis really likes Nikki Haley or Vivek or Chris Christie. So I think that Ron DeSantis would probably drop out and endorse Trump most likely, or he might not endorse anybody and just go back to Florida. So that's what you have there. Chris Christie, now he holds 11% of the vote in New Hampshire. If he drops out, I would say that a majority of his voters will probably go to Nikki Haley in the state of New Hampshire. And that'll really help out Nikki Haley. She's doing relatively good in the state of New Hampshire. If Chris Christie were to drop out before New Hampshire, Nikki Haley is extremely competitive in New Hampshire because there was a recent poll that came out that showed Nikki Haley at almost 30% in New Hampshire and Trump at 45%. If Chris Christie drops out and gives 11% of his voters to Nikki Haley, or not 11%, but maybe 8%, assuming some of them just don't like Nikki Haley, you could see a big drift. And you could see Trump actually do a one-on-one debate with Nikki Haley. That would be very interesting if that were to occur, although I doubt that Chris Christie is going to drop out before New Hampshire. I think that Chris Christie is probably going to drop out either after New Hampshire or South Carolina, okay? And that's really the question. The question is, who's going to be the next to drop out? That is really the question. Um, Vivek, if he were to drop out, I would say most of his voters are just going to go to Trump or Ron DeSantis. That's basically what's going to happen. All right. And I doubt they'd go to Nikki Haley because Vivek really hates Nikki Haley. So that's where they are. If Asa Hutchinson drops out, I don't know where his voters are going to go. I don't really know. I don't even really know much about Asa Hutchinson that much. So I'm not going to comment on Asa Hutchinson. His voters can go wherever they want. They're not going to really make a difference. Okay. So that's basically where we stand. And a question is, when are they going to drop out? And before which state are they going to drop out? Right? That is the question. Before which state are they going to drop out? If Chris Christie drops out before New Hampshire, Trump has got to debate Nikki Haley. Okay, and there's really no reason. The reason why Chris Christie is running for president, it doesn't make sense. Even Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, they're not going to become president of the United States. I mean, even if Nikki Haley, let's say somehow Nikki Haley wins in New Hampshire, she wins in New Hampshire. Chris Christie drops out, supports Nikki Haley, and she would have won in New Hampshire and win in South Carolina. You still have many states left to go, right? You still have many states, many delegates left to go. So Trump's basically coming in very smooth. He's coming in very smooth. He's going to win this nomination extremely smoothly, right? So it's not really going to be that much of an issue. Even if Nikki Haley were to win in two states, I don't really see how that's really going to shape out the race. Now, if the Supreme Court obviously is taking on, recently actually, the Supreme Court decided that they were going to take on the Trump case of whether or not he can be on the ballot and stuff like that. I think that the Supreme Court is probably going to vote in favor of Trump just because of the 6-3 majority of Supreme Court justices appointed by conservatives, appointed by Republicans. And you got to consider this. Here's something that you got to consider. The reason why I think the Supreme Court is going to vote the way for Trump is because here's the thing. In Colorado, where they got rid of Trump, right, where they took Trump off the ballot, you got to recognize there were 7 state Supreme Court justices there. All 7 were appointed by Democrats. And of those 7, 3 of them voted to keep Trump on the ballot. Okay? Even though all 7 of them were appointed by Democrats. Now you go to the Supreme Court, where 6-3 majority are appointed by Republicans. How is that 6-3 majority even gonna vote to take Trump off the ballot? It might not even be too surprising if one of the Supreme Court justices that was appointed by a Democrat were to vote in favor of Trump, just because of the fact that you saw in Colorado, it was a very close decision, even though every single justice was appointed by a Democrat. So that's something to consider, right? So I think he's going to be on the ballot in all of the ballots. If he doesn't, if something really strange were to happen and he were to get kicked off the ballot, that would be very, very risky for him. Very, very risky. And then Vivek at that point would probably not run. He'd probably because Vivek has taken his name off the Colorado and Maine ballot after Colorado and Maine took Trump off. So he's probably going to put his name on after the decision gets overturned, most likely. Although we will see where this is all headed for the 2024 election. But anyways, guys, that is my prediction. We have Trump leading. We are going to have Trump winning the nomination in Iowa, he's going to win the most number of delegates and the most number of votes. You're going to have DeSantis coming in second, Haley coming in third, Vivek Ramaswamy coming in fourth, Chris Christie coming in fifth, Asa Hutchinson coming in sixth. So that is where this primary is headed, guys. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. Make sure you check out other videos that I have in my channel content. We're going to get into all of this. And also, guys, I want to do a House of Representatives election prediction. The reason why I want to do a House prediction is because of the fact that I have not done a House of Representatives prediction. I believe in about 1 month or so, 1.5 months maybe, but I have not done one in a while. I want to do one again, take a look back at that map and refresh us on that map. Obviously, we're going to have another Iowa primary prediction coming up soon, and I want to do one after the debate. So make sure you stay tuned for everything that's going to happen in the 2024 election, and I'll see you in the next video.